In a high-stakes, fast-paced diplomatic maneuver, it took just 75 minutes for US President Donald Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen to hammer out a major US-EU trade framework that could reshape the transatlantic commerce for years to come. The two leaders emerged from private talks in Turnberry, Scotland, announcing sweeping commitments from Europe and a stunningly favorable deal for the United States of America. The speed and scope of the deal stunned even seasoned negotiators. But behind the headline figures lies a complex and strategic reshaping of transatlantic trade. Here are 5 things you need to know and what they really mean. At the core of the agreement is the triple financial commitment from Europe to the United States. It includes $750 billion in American energy imports, primarily liquefied natural gas, that is the LNG, and crude oil. $600 billion in new EU investments into the United States across energy, infrastructure, and manufacturing sectors. And finally, an unspecified but vast commitment to buy more US military equipment, including next-gen systems and support assets. This effectively makes Europe the largest long-term buyer of American energy, which is a strategic move that weakens Russian influence and deepens US-EU energy interdependence. Trump didn't just close a trade deal. He leveraged energy security and defense dependency to pull Europe further into America's economic orbit while boosting US exports and domestic jobs. In perhaps the most dramatic element, the deal slashes tariffs on American goods to 0 in Europe while increasing flat 15% tariff on most European imports into United States. Previously, US goods faced varying European Union tariffs, often between 5% to 10%. European goods entered the US at much lower rates or none at all. Trump had threatened 30% tariffs if Europe didn't comply, which is a move von der Leyen admitted would have sparked a trade war between them. Accepting a 15% baseline is seen as a lesser evil. The tariff structure is intentionally lopsided. It strengthens American industry while increasing the cost of European goods in the US markets. This creates a strong incentive for European companies to move production to the US or face pricing disadvantages. The 15% import tariff also hits European auto manufacturers, many of whom rely heavily on the United States market. But this isn't good news for American car makers either. US companies building vehicles in Mexico still face a 25% tariff under Trump's earlier policy, meaning European firms could remain more competitive despite the new 15% tariffs. This clause is a strategic pressure tool. It forces both the European Union car makers and the US automakers to reconsider their supply chains and factor locations. Trump is betting that this will eventually pull more vehicle manufacturers back into the United States and pressure unions and companies to renegotiate. Although pharmaceuticals are Europe's top export to the United States, which is over $90 billion annually, mostly from Ireland, they are excluded from this deal. Von der Leyen said that they were part of an early framework, but Trump publicly rejected this, signaling an aggressive reshaping strategy. Trump has threatened 200% tariffs on imported drugs and wants domestic drug manufacturers to expand under a separate initiative. And why does this matter? Because pharmaceuticals are hidden from this trade war. Trump is saving this sector particularly for a standalone crackdown, one that will appeal directly to American voters frustrated by drug prices and foreign dependencies. The deal also includes 0 for 0 tariffs on strategic products. And what are these products? These are aircraft and components, chemicals and semiconductors, raw materials and agricultural goods. This segment of the deal was designed to protect key industrial elements and stabilize global supply chains, especially in critical technologies and food security. Most importantly, the United States and the European Union account for 44% of the global GDP. Any escalation between them would have rattled markets, raised consumer prices, and hampered recovery efforts worldwide. By the way, this deal is not permanent, it's just a framework. Trump holds leverage with steel and aluminum tariffs remaining at 50% and pharmaceuticals excluded. The potential of a renewed pressure remains very large if the European Union fails to deliver on defense or energy targets. This deal demonstrates Trump's maximum leverage negotiation style. And what does it mean? It means threaten high, walk away if needed, and extract bigger concessions. His playbook also includes using national security and energy as pressure points, redefining bilateral trade through quick wins and public optics. For Trump, this is more than just trade. It's a message to China, Japan, and the global South that the US sets the terms from now on. And as for the European Union, it's a tough pill to swallow. But amid a Russian aggression, NATO burdens, and economic volatility, von der Leyen and EU leaders calculated that compromise was definitely way better than conflict. The US-EU trade deal is historic in scale, but heavily tilted towards American interests. Trump walks away with bragging rights, economic leverage, and campaign ammunition. The EU avoids a meltdown for now. But with sectors like pharmaceuticals, steel, and autos still in Trump's crosshairs, the next round may be even tougher.
Thank you very much. So we have good news. We've reached a deal. It's a good deal for everybody, I believe. And I think you were saying this is probably the biggest deal ever reached in any capacity, trade or beyond trade.
It is.
It's a giant deal with lots of countries. So we're going to do the following. The European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy. $750 billion worth of energy. They are going to agree to invest into the United States $600 billion more than they're investing already. So they're investing a large amount of money. You know what that amount of money is. It's very substantial, but they're going to invest an additional $600 billion. They're agreeing to open up their countries to trade at zero tariff. So that's a very big factor. Opening up their countries, all of the countries will be opened up to trade with the United States at zero tariff. And they're agreeing to purchase a vast amount of military equipment. We don't know what that number is, but I'm going to let you say, but I think it's the biggest deal ever made. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.